How are you? It's Penda. I just wanted to say hello. Well, welcome to our third installment of this special edition of the Resilience Project, where we are focusing on the voices and the experiences of Black women. We started 3 weeks ago, and our first discussion was with a powerful group of women, and we talked about the soul of Black women. Last week, we were together again. That conversation was amazing. Every week, we're talking about a different pillar. This week, our pillar is love. And let me tell you, my name means love. My daddy chose that name for me. Penda means love in Swahili. So I am truly honored to be able to represent what love feels like and is. And I try to do that even though I don't always succeed. Today, I'm having a conversation with another one of my goddaughters. And we're going to talk about how love heals. And I think you're going to really be intrigued by this conversation. I hope that the homie Tiff will join us later to share a little bit how love has healed her. But Queonis Cistrunk, we call her Kiki, but now she's Key. I have to get used to the one key. I have other names for her as well. But I just want to say, Kiki, thank you for being here and for sharing your experience and your story with love. So I don't know how this conversation is going to go because there's so many things that we could talk about. I do have some questions that I want to ask you. And before I do that, can you just describe for us, introduce yourself and describe for us what love is to you?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Key. I'm excited and nervous at the same time about being a part of this, but I'm happy that you asked me to join you. For me, love. I grew up in church, so you have that definition that always comes to mind when someone asks you what love is. And before I think about that, I also think about you have Google and Webster's definition of love, which is an intense feeling of deep affection. That don't really describe love. So I always go to, the biblical version of it, which is love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast. We all know the scriptures. So that's what I think of when I think about what love is. So I always look for that when I look to see when I say I love someone or someone says they love me, that's what I look for. Those characteristics.
So let's just go there. You talked about church, and I think that's what we met in church. And is it okay for me to say that you were not necessarily embraced, welcomed? What's another description? In church.
I wasn't accepted at Zion at the church.
At the church, yeah, we don't have to say the name of the church. Talk about how you came to church broken with some brokenness. Your mom is deceased, and you have, you kind of raised your sister, and you had a little baby girl at the time. Now you have two baby girls. You came searching for and really desiring to be loved. Can you talk a little bit about first let's talk about what your expectation of what love was going to do for you when you came to church.
So I guess you could say my home church it's a small environment. So it's a real loving, compact little church. So when I came to my church now, I think I was looking for that same type of feel. One, because I have visited many times growing up, and that's what it looked like it was. But once I got into the inside, I didn't feel that. Um, I thought that it would be way different. I thought it was a bigger church, so more love, but it wasn't that.
So you answered my next question, which was, what did you what did you experience that was not love?
Like I don't think like now I guess when I switch churches, that's when I really start coming into like my real adulthood of being a Christian. So I had never really experienced like people really like talking behind your back, the mimicking, like the chatter about you that you don't really know, or meeting people for the first time and people already having an outlook on who they think you are before they actually get a chance to meet you. Like those things didn't make me feel welcomed at all. It was a really a big thing for me. And at that time, I was like a newlywed. I was newly married. That was another big thing. So it was already kind of like I'm trying to find my way as being a new wife and things of that nature, and coming into someone else's family, which was also difficult. So I thought the church would, help in those areas where I was lacking to help give guidance, but I wasn't receiving that at first.
So love heals. What can you talk about a time that you've been healed by love?
Yeah, I mean, meeting you, um, and like experiencing, like you said, my mom was deceased, but even when my mom was here, my mom she loved, but it was different. So I never experienced like that like love. So that was great, and it helped tremendously, to heal me and also to teach me how to give that to my girls, to my daughters as well.
So how has love and healing been a thread throughout your life?
It's been
Can you
difficult.
talk
Like
about a time that sorry, I'm watching at the same time. Go ahead.
I mean, I've been through my share of things to be so young. So there's been a lot. Like I've lost people. Like you said, my mom, my grandmother, my grandfather. Like I've lost a lot of people. I've lost friends. So that is, in a sense, losing love to me because you lost that person. So it's like they're not here to give you that love anymore. So that's one thing. And then healing from it, which is something that I think I still do to this day. I feel like you get your healing not necessarily all at once. I think healing comes over time,
Mm.
and I may get a piece of healing here and a piece there, but every day I think I'm forever healing from something because there's always something new that's gonna happen in life.
How do you define what healing is?
Well, for me, it's not necessarily something that feels good. I think people think when they hear that they're gonna, that you're getting your healing and things like that, that they think that it's always a feel good thing. But I don't think that it's always necessarily what feels good because sometimes, in order to get your healing, you have to get honesty and things that you may not either did not know or did not come to grips with, or things that you didn't want to touch on. So, getting your healing sometimes can be a hard thing to do and a hard process as well. Um,
I told this story while you're thinking about that. I told a story earlier on my live about how I fell one time and I twisted my ankle and it was swollen. Like the way that I fell, it swell up immediately. I hobbled into the house to my father and he took his thumb and he pressed his pain directly into the center of the pain and he massaged it all out. And I remember like squirming and he's like gripping my leg, pushing his thumb into my ankle. I'm squirming, screaming, crying. But after that, I was okay. So even though I was hurting from the healing, the pain was necessary in order for me to heal.
right, and that's kind of where I was going with it. Like, I know that there's been times where in my healing, I think it may have been things that I suppressed that I didn't want to talk about or deal with. And then when you surround yourself with a real group of people that aren't there for show, and they really, you know, if they're really there to help you get your healing, then sometimes some things that you're gonna have to talk about that may not be so easy, but it's those conversations and those interactions that pushed me into getting my healing.
So let's go there, because you are my goddaughter, and because we have had and have to consistently have hard conversations. Let's just kind of talk about our process and what that looks like for us. Like, I know there's times that you're mad at me and that you'd be like talking to me through gritted teeth, and like not really avoiding me and not really wanting to talk to me. And sometimes I feel the same way about you. I'm just be honest. Like, I'm mad at her. She not doing, like, why are we here again? But because we love each other, we press through that. And I don't think, apart from, anything super egregious, I'm always going to be there. I'm always going to be in your life, because since you've been here, we've been here through thick and thin. And what would you say to somebody who's watching? Like, is a relationship always supposed to be hard? And if it's hard, does that mean that you're not supposed to be in it?
I always say anything worth having doesn't come easy. Like it just doesn't. Anything that is of value is gonna have hard times. Because if you don't ever have hard times, then you're not growing, you're not evolving. And relationships, whether it's friendships, mother daughterships, whatever the situation is, you have to grow with each other through life. If you don't, then at some point that relationship will end.
God.
So growing is painful sometimes, and it's okay. But just because it may have hard times doesn't mean that it's not meant. But that's when you gotta really just tap into prayer and meditation to know when things are for you and when they're not. But I mean, when you consistently think of people or certain people, and you know who it is in your life that you think of constantly that you can't go without. And then there are people that if you out of sight them out of mind, then and you're not thinking about them, then I feel like, well, then what value was it really? There's
Hmm.
been people where I've stepped away from, not to say I was saying goodbye to them, but just because I needed to step away. And in stepping away, they left, they faded. I don't, you know what I mean? So I just feel like God can take away those people or those relationships that are not needed. I don't necessarily have to dictate it. I can dictate when something's not good for me, and I can realize when I need to step away. And then once I do that part, I feel like God kind of takes over and does the rest.
Have you ever been in a situation where somebody was in pain, and they wanted you to heal them, but you didn't have it in you to do it?
Yeah, I
Like,
have.
what? And then
I
they
go
get
through that with my
mad at you,
sister.
like, you supposed to be my friend and you not nurturing me, But we have to know when things are too much for us, because if there are places in our lives where we're not healed, or where, it's still a trigger for us. I'm not going, like, when I used to be an altar worker, and one of the things that they said is, you better know you can't touch everybody that come to the
Mhm.
altar. If they're dealing with something you dealing with, if they sad because they not married and you want to be married, don't pray for them. Go get somebody else. Like, so you have to know when something is outside of your realm of strength to do.
Yeah. I don't know, and I think because I've been through some of the things that I've been through. Like anybody knows me know I love people. I love to help people. Like if I can, I will. That's just who I am. So with that being said, I feel like the things that I've gone through in life have equipped me to be that person that, you know what I mean. I can step in the middle of something. When somebody may not be able to handle it. Like I don't have a problem with talking to someone about situations without breaking down myself, or you know what I mean, in that nature, because I don't know. I think I put on my armor. I put on my armor and I go in. So it's like that. But then it's not to say that when I walk away or when I get to my own safe place that I don't deal with it later. But
Yeah.
in that moment, I just feel like I've been equipped to deal with certain things that some people can't.
And I have seen you in that frame of mind where, you know, sometimes you be ready to get your Vaseline, take your earrings off and go to battle, you know, and then later you're like, you know, heartbroken because of what you saw. And I just appreciate how you show love and how you show up when you love somebody. I know it makes me mad because you do things where you're going above and beyond to help people. But like you said, it's who you are. And because I know that you are comfortable and settled in who you are and you know what your purpose is, I can't fight that. Even though I don't like it, I can't fight it because I know that's who you are. But the love that I have for you wants to make sure that you don't get hurt. So that's what sometimes where it's hard for us when we're communicating because the love that we have, the language isn't always connecting, you know. And so as we kind of work through it, we've gotten past that. So I know when you're in the mood, and I know, you know when I'm in the mood, and we just kind of know. But that doesn't mean that we don't keep pushing up on it. Like, get it together, sis. Get it together. You know, it doesn't mean that we don't do that. So I want to know, what do you want people to know? Because we are talking about, you know, black women and black women speaking. So what would you say about a black woman's love and how a black woman loves and heals?
Um, I think that like black women, we love on a whole nother level. Like it's something that was put into us. Like the way that we love really hard, love deep. And when we love someone, no matter who it is, like I feel like we are always willing to take on whatever comes with that, which is why we always have to go to the healing part of it. But I mean, a black woman's love is like no other. If you ask me, it's unconditional and it's nurturing, um, on a natural base. But I know, like nowadays, people may think the opposite of black women in their love because now I see some people look at us as like we're aggressive or mean and angry and things like that. But I feel like black women have for so long given so much of themselves and loved so hard and have been hurt and had to continuously go and seek healing to the point now where it a lot of us have these walls up and it's hard to break down, because we're scared to undo the healing that we may have already gotten. But which is why I say we should forever always be seeking our healing because it doesn't end. You can't put up that wall all the time. You can't shut everybody out. You have to let somebody in. And in order to be used, you can't have up a wall.
So make that personal, Kiki. We started out talking about church. I'm trying to be careful. We started out talking about church. So church as an institution. What would you want church to know about you and how you love and how you heal and what they could do to love and heal women like you?
Um, for one, like, well, what they could do, I guess, for me is to just learn. Let me be the guinea pig so that we can learn. So when the next Kiki walks through the door, that they know how to deal or that they're equipped. Like, you can't judge people. You can't judge people off of what they look like. You can't judge people off of what others may say. Like, you can't do that to people because then you push people away. And when you do that in the church, People are coming there to get their healing. So you don't know what state they're going to come in, but you can't be afraid and you can't be judgmental just because you've arrived at a place in your life where you feel like you're not there anymore. But we all have to remember where we come from. No, everybody's been through something, and I feel like a lot of us walk around like we've never been through anything.
Mm.
Like, I don't know if it's because people leave things, some people bury things, and I realize that. So when someone comes in that look like they used to, or that, and when I say look, I mean internally, reminds them of how they may have been, or reminds them of what used to be, I feel like they shut them out and they run away. But we can't do that. Like, how are we going to nurture and how are we going to pull these women in and get them groomed and grow them like the next generation up if we're not willing to be open and honest and be real with them? Like, that's a real thing.
Homie, that question is for you too. I want you to come in and answer that question. And while she's coming in, Key, can you talk about a time that your love healed somebody?
Um, I I don't know. Because I don't necessarily
Monet. Go ahead, Key.
I don't know. I don't think I don't check in to know like did I don't know how people feel. I can only go off of what I see and what I think in my perspective. But I feel like I've been in a place a lot of times where I was sent just for that purpose. Like, even though I may not have gotten what I wanted out of the situation, I see them grow. I see their growth. I see their healing, and I see the things that I may have went through with this person, and how the love and the things that I gave them was what they needed at that time to get to where they have to go.
Hmm. Stay there. Stay there, Key. Okay, Monet. Hi. So I know you were watching us, and Tiff, I want you to answer the question first because you are a minister. Monet, her daddy was a pastor. So this is like a whole different experience here. So the question was, what do you think that the church can do to heal women?
That was the question, Penda.
That's the question.
Wow. What do I think the church could do to heal women? Say thank you.
Mm.
Saying thank you is such an interesting phenomenon, Penda, because people say thank you and they say I'm sorry in a variety of ways. You will not find too many people that will literally look someone in the eye and say thank you and be grateful with sincerity. You're not going to find a lot of people that will look you in the eyes and apologize with sincerity.
Hmm.
But my husband, he is so phenomenal to me because he has never verbally apologized to me, but he has made it right every time. Why? Because his love language is different, but he knows how to apologize his way. And it took me a moment to learn his apologies, but when I learned it, it was a beautiful thing. And I think the reason why the church is afraid to apologize is because it feels like it has to do it a certain way instead of for the way that it knows how to do it.
Hmm. I'm like in my feelings, right? This conversation is so good. I don't know what to do with myself. Monet, first, before you, thank you. I know you were at work. Before you answer this question, I want you to define what love and healing is.
Oh, I mean, what love and healing is to me. Well, whenever I think of love, of the definition of love, when I was going through marriage counseling, I remember going, and the preacher that I went to asked me and my then husband, well, fiance, what is love to you? And I said, well, I mean, seeking the higher good for someone else. Like I want him to have more than I have, or I want him to have better. I'm always looking for him to be in a better place than me. And so, his answer to me was, well, love is like the color gray. It's two very distinct colors coming together, but you cannot remove one from the other when they're put together, right? So you got black and white, but then when it's gray, and there's no way you can make it black or white again. It's gray. And so that stuck out to me forever. And so whenever I think of love, it's like that. Once we have come together, there's no way to remove me from, like I can't, there's no way to remove it. So for me, that's love. Like just becoming, it is that seeking the higher good to me. But it's gray. Like it's gray. And healing, I don't know, Penda, you ask such deep questions. I don't know. Healing is I mean, I can't answer it with words. I know what I feel when I feel healed.
So talk about that then. What is that?
Well, I'm a therapist by nature, right? Mm-hmm. By trade. That's what I do. But it's just becoming whole or wholeness, and as whole as you possibly can. And wholeness that's healing to me. Becoming whole, I guess, if I had to answer that question.
So what can the church do to heal women?
So the apology thing, I'm feeling it. But more importantly to me, I think is being transparent. Like my father passed away in 2014. I was a member of his church. My dad became a pastor in 1990. And so I was 10 years old. My mother had just passed away. So he became a pastor and a widow in the same, like she didn't get to see him become a pastor. So we, as his children, had so much on us. It was tough, right? When he died, I struggled because I stayed in the church because of my father and that it was his church, but I wasn't growing there. I was just there because it was what I was made to do. So when he passed away, I stayed for another year. And I was very hurt because the pastor that they got after my father, I got sick. I have MS. And that was when I was diagnosed that year. He didn't come to visit me. He did not send anybody to visit me. And my church was small, really very small. So it's not like I was in a mega church. I felt like I'm sick. Like this was a new diagnosis, something nobody in my family except for a cousin had it. I knew nothing about it. I was frightened. And I knew watching my father pastor, what a pastor should do. And he didn't do it. So it hurt me. And he wasn't transparent to me. He wasn't transparent enough to say, it's not in my capability, or that's just not who I am as a pastor. But at that time, that really just pushed me over the edge. Like it was already enough, but it's like, I can't stay here. You didn't even bother to check on me. And so that transparency would have helped me, even if it was just not in his capability. If he'd have sent somebody, it was hurtful. And I had given all of what I had that I knew. I'd given a lot to that church. and my family was angry with me because I left.
Oh.
And still, I think to this day, my stepmother, like, they're still there at that church. But I have grown tremendously because I found another church that I was able to spiritually grow at. I was not forced to be there. I was able, and my pastor was just very transparent about who he was and what he wanted the church to do. And I felt loved in that church. I just felt loved.
This is just so ironic because I know someone who is a pastor, and the church members say that he does not visit them. And they're angry because they say that he doesn't visit them and that they don't know where he lives and all these things. And no one has ever asked this pastor what's going on in his life. Right. And so as a pastor's daughter, I think you understand that. As a congregant who needed a shepherd, you don't understand why your pastor didn't reach out to you. No. And maybe it wasn't how he was made. And if he would have just been like, I don't do that, then that would have been okay. You wouldn't have been looking for it. I think a lot of times there are expectations that we have, like the whole conversation is about how love heals. And so there's expectations we have about church, and we are women, and part of what we do is heal and nurture. Right. All of us have children that are on this panel right now. We all have children, and we all have to put our own things aside to make sure that our babies are okay. But do you ever at any point in time say, when your baby's not okay, do you say to yourself, I'm not okay? Or do you always put the needs of your child in front of you? Always. Y'all shaking your heads. Tell me more.
Yes.
Tell me more. Okay, Tiff, because you have Crohn's. So let's just go there. If your baby is not feeling good and you're not feeling good at the same time, you're going to push through your pain to make sure that your baby's okay.
Absolutely. Every single time.
Every single time. So how do you then get what you need? Or do you never get what you need?
I'm just learning, but it took me almost dying to learn. Literally, I was on my deathbed for 2 months. Doctors did not know what to do with me, transferred me to another hospital. And that's when I finally was like, oh, shoot, I'm out here tripping. Let me get it together. So now, for example, my daughter just turned 7 the weekend before last. She just turned 7. And that weekend was her first sleepover at a friend's house. Was that Friday. That Saturday, she had a dance recital because she just finished dance school. And then Sunday was her birthday party at my mom's house. Now, if anybody that's watching that has a chronic illness, you know that is a recipe for a flare-up. Just an absolute recipe for a flare-up. So I had to prep the entire week before. I did nothing but lay in the bed. If I was working, I was in the bed working. I took a nap when I could. I kind of went on autopilot. I was still operating, but it was at very, very low energy. Still take care of the house, take care of my husband, but just very, very low energy because I knew I was going to have to turn up for my daughter.
Yes.
I can't say, no, you can't go to the sleepover because that's going to wear me out. That's not fair to her. I can't say you will just go to the dance recital with everybody else. I'm going to stay in the bed so I can do your birthday party tomorrow. I can't do that. No. And then I got to show up for the birthday party. I'm the homie. That's my daughter. So, it took, the thing is, had I not experienced that, almost dying, I would have just treated the week like the week, went through the weekend, and probably that following weekend I would have been in the hospital.
Oh, see, it's interesting. All three of y'all have a chronic disease.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all y'all shaking your heads. Y'all all have a chronic disease, and I didn't think about that. So, you know, when I asked that question and we talk about love heals, last week we talked about how we just keep going and going and going, and then we don't take care of ourselves. And so it sometimes is a hard lesson. And you know, Monet, and Tiffany, because Key and I were talking first. You know, tell about a time that love healed you. Either one, both of y'all.
So I mean, when we first talked, Penda, I was trying to think. Like, I have so many stories. Like, I probably could share. I think the most, the one that stands out most for me, I went through a very, very nasty divorce breakup. It was bad, like bad. And I remember, as you were talking about your father, you know, I was a daddy's girl. My dad was my heart. Like,
yeah.
So I remember the last straw with the situation I was in. I walked out of my house. I was in the marriage. I was thinking of killing him. Like, I was looking at this knife. I was standing in the kitchen. I wanted to kill him. I was like, okay, at this point, I have to leave because I don't want to go to jail. I have kids. I don't want to go to jail. But I remember leaving the house and I was in like a fog. I don't remember walking out of the house. I left. All I had was my wallet and my phone. I left my kids in the house with this man. I left out. I called one of my friends. I was like a couple blocks up from my house, but it was near a Kmart or some store. And I just sat down in the parking lot. I'm crying. I called her and she rushed to me. And when she got there, she said, "Where do you want me to take you? Where do you want to go?" And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, to my daddy. Just take me to my dad. I don't care where else I go. Just take me to my dad. And she brought this to my attention in talking about, whenever we talk about, she was like, I remember that day. I remember looking in your face like you had enough, but I was so hurt for you. Like, I didn't know what to do. She said, and when your dad opened the door, the way you fell into his arms, he just opened the door and you fell into his arms. And I remember just laying in his arms, like, I'm so exhausted. And all he said was, "It's okay." That's it. It's okay. And from that moment, I felt like it was okay. Like, no, it didn't matter that she had told me that, my friend had told me that. I needed to be with my dad, and for him to say, "It's okay." But that's the one time I could think of. And from that point, it was like, okay, I walked out, and now what? Now I have to keep going. And I want to say just that hug from my dad, and that in that moment, and him telling me it was okay, healed me. In that moment, I was ready to take on the rest of what I had to take on because of that.
Stop talking.
I'm sorry.
Jeez. So now that your dad has transitioned, you have that. It's okay.
Yep.
You got it. Sheesh. Tiff, how has love healed you?
Penda, I wasn't prepared for this type of carrying on tonight.
I
was not prepared for this type of carrying on. Oh, man. It's a journey. It's an absolute journey. Love the healing, the healing that pure love brings. It's a journey. So far on this journey, because I don't know what God is doing in my life, but my life was broken up until probably 31, and I'm 33. And I mean broken as in I didn't have a significant other that loved me, treated me right. My father in my relationship was broken. My mother in my relationship was broken. I had absolutely no relationship with my siblings. Church family was tripping on me. Like everything was just broken. Like every area of relationship in my life was broken, where I was yearning for love and searching for love and acceptance. It was nothing but rejection and betrayal and hate and just brokenness. And then all of a sudden, when my husband came into my life, everything just started changing.
Hmm.
Like literally, me and my mom and dad are like the best of friends. It's crazy. My dad was like on drugs out of my life my entire childhood, disappeared from the age of 11 to 18, just popped back up on this. I mean, I have so many stories about my dad, and it's crazy now because I remember the hatred that I carried for him. But it was my husband loving me and showing me the love of a man and showing me grace and mercy. I had never seen grace and mercy before my husband. He shows me so much grace and mercy. So him loving me was teaching me how to love, because I never knew how to love because there was not any love coming from anywhere. So I thought what I was dealing with in all aspects of my life was love because it felt the same, but it was painful, but it felt the same. And it always identified as love. So love was painful. I'm supposed to go through this. I'm supposed to be upset. We supposed to argue. We supposed to hate each other because this is all that I know. But when my husband came along, it was like, wow. Like all of the fairy tales that you hear about, the love songs on the radio, when you get that real love, it's like everything makes sense. And ever since then, everything has just been falling into place. It's the craziest thing because it's nothing that has been forced. I didn't seek it out. It literally is just happening. And like I said, that hatred I used to feel, like I have that no more. Like it just is healed. And I say it's a journey because there are still other areas that are healing that, I'm trying to reconcile. But the most important, my family structure, it's like we are here like the Cosbys by the grace of God. So love has healed. That's how love has healed. Now go on, Penda. Go on now.
Okay, this is my last question, and I'm gonna start with you so you can take yourself off the camera. What do you want people to know about love?
I want people to know that love is subjective. I want people to know that there's no such thing as identical love. What you may see with me and my husband, that's our love. But to other people, it may be weird or different. And that goes for every relationship or every exchange of love. I want people to know that it's personal. Love is personal. You identify it by your soul, not by what you see in society.
Thank you, homie. Monet, what do you want people to know about love?
Oh, I want people to know that it is possible. It's possible. Like love, it's possible, and it doesn't have to hurt, and that it does heal. I mean, that's important to know. So that's it.
Is there something else that, because I know you came on, you were at work. Was there something else that you wanted to lend your voice to about love before I let you go?
I don't think so. I'm just happy I was able to get on.
Me too. I love you so much. I didn't, introduce who you are, but we met at Wilberforce University. You are my sister, and I'm so grateful. You're a therapist. You're a mom. Yes, you do. You're an MS warrior, but you're amazing. I'm just so grateful for you. You've taught me a lot in my life. So thank you. I love you.
Vice versa. I love you more.
Key, what do you want people to know about love?
Kind of just echo what she just said. Like, I just want everyone to know that we all deserve it.
Oh, that's
I know I've met so many people that feel like they're not deserving of love or not deserving of the love that they want. but that we all deserve it. And I mean, we can all get it, and it just starts with just loving Christ. Because if don't nobody else love you, you can get it there first.
Hmm.
Just tapping into it.
Thank you, Key. I love you.
I love you too.
I just want to thank all of you for watching this conversation about love. I say that all of them mean something significant to me. This one means something really special to me. I think about love every day. Like I said, my name means love. My dad and my daddy chose the name, but my parents named me that for a reason. And for many years in my life, I've struggled with giving and receiving love. I came into church at the age of 17, and I learned about the love of Christ when I gave my life to Christ. And now, as a 47-year-old woman, I've experienced love lost. I've lost my mom, a woman that I loved deeply. Both of my grandmothers are gone. I'm now a pillar in my family. And I think about, you've seen and met two of my goddaughters and many of my special friends, people that I care about deeply. And these conversations are helping to heal me. This is why the Resilience Project even exists, because I want to be completely honest. 2016, I was broken, just so broken from grief and from not being able to fit into the expectations that an institution wanted me to be. People being really verbal about their disdain and their dislike for me. And as a result of that, I shut down and really stopped being myself. The Resilience Project is one way that love has healed me. And I want to thank you all for being on this journey for me. Come back next week where we're going to talk about the power of restoration. And I know you want to go back and watch this. Tag your friends. Thank you, Gloria and Latifa, for your comments tonight. I saw them, but I was in the conversation, so I couldn't address them all the way. I thank you for your support consistently every single time. Thank you for being here and for allowing yourselves to unfold with me. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching. See you soon.